I decided to bring this ritual and spell into being. The idea which finally pushed me to do it was because of a guy I know who is a very devout Christian, who told me he received a vision from Jesus Christ that Sydney would be hit by a tsunami. Now, seeing as I did not have that vision or that dream, I cannot say whether or not it was real or whether he's had some sort of hallucination. But it has prompted me to make this happen. But it's not me per se. It's God who decides all these things. And as I look at the world, especially in the white European, Western-based countries, we see the same corruption that we see in Australia. And to walk down the main street in Sydney, that being George Street, where construction work for a tram system of some sort hasn't progressed in 2 years? Just endless wasting of money. It is an attempt to drive this country bankrupt. Now, the way I see things, to have a tsunami hit Sydney would not actually be a great loss. Far from it. When you look at if a tsunami hit Sydney, the areas most affected would be the eastern suburbs, the lower North Shore, the inner city, which is where all the problems for Australia, both as a nation and as a society, come from. So, I'm going to reveal the ritual to you, but I understand that people of various faiths may have problems using practical Kabbalah. So, regardless of faith, I will put forth the talisman which came to me, you could say, in an instant, which will attract a tsunami. Now, I've put this amongst what is known in Kabbalah as the four worlds. But I will also give a latitude for those of you who wish to participate in this, but are not confident in your ability to do so. So you may rely on various Christian rituals and the like, prayers, but this can apply to people of all faiths as long as you believe in the one and only God, who I call Jehovah. What I want to do through this is set a precedent for the rest of the world. Let's get rid of the crooked governments and the harbour-side mansions in which they live. The world will not lose anything by losing these people. It's just not possible for this to actually happen. And I know there'll be those of you who will say, well, what about my job? What about my car? What about my house? To that I say, if you participate and let's say the tsunami comes, I cannot guarantee this and nor will I, and you see it actually coming, what does all your material possessions mean when you see the evidence firsthand that yes, there is a God and he listens to us? It's about time we show the rest of the world what happens when you anger God, and we can show the rest of the world a way to deal with these sorts of people who do go out of their way to anger God, who do go out of their way to promote atheism. There is so much that is wrong in major Western cities around the world. And really, it is incumbent on us to at least try to rectify the damage and the spread of this godless contamination. Thus I write and tell you. In order to have this campaign, if you want to call it that, or this project get underway and succeed, we have to have a set target. Now, some people may see a tsunami hitting Sydney as the end, the main point of such a campaign. It is not. Yes, if you do not like Sydney, Australia, and you want to see it swept away, this is more of a byproduct. The first purpose and main purpose is to glorify God, glorify the name of God, who I prefer to call Jehovah, but instruct the rest of the world that yes, there is a God, and yes, he does listen to us. So we have to take into consideration every factor in our preparation. The most important one offhand is yourself. And in relation to that, I'm considering or suggesting that you look at your personal behavior, your personal relationship with God. Now, when you undertake a magical working, you should at least leave time for preparation to cleanse yourself, so to speak. Now, this at the least, or what preferably, is 1 week, 7 days. So the best way I have found is to recite Psalm 119. Now, you may do this once a day because it is quite a long psalm, but as long as you say it at least once, at least in the week, or you might even have a few days by the time you say this to prepare yourself. But for Psalms, I would recommend 119. If you have the time and the dedication, what you could do, if you do not know already, is learn the planetary hours. Now in Psalm 119 it says you should pray 7 times a day. And you might be asking, well, when, why, how? Simple reason is you are praying once for every planetary hour. Now, myself, I don't think it has to be Psalm 119 every planetary hour, because that is a lot to ask. But you could just acknowledge God, pray to Him, ask Him for direction in your life. That's what the 7 times a day is supposed to be about. Another factor you should consider is, if you are going to do this ritual, or indeed just prayer in general, do you have a dedicated space to do so? Whether it be a room, or most likely a part of a room, or just a location, you should ensure, or at least make the effort to make sure it is clean, that it has had some sort of cleansing, and this can be done by burning frankincense. This is the traditional incense used to cleanse an area. Now you may be wondering, am I supposed to have an altar and all this furniture set up? Actually, no. Look, you get rewarded on your effort, not on your style. If all you have is a wooden box on the floor with a couple of candles and some incense, and that's all you can afford, or that's all you can get your hands on, and you've tried other things to make up for it, but you just haven't found them, that's okay. It's not to mean you can be lazy, it just means your effort is what you get rewarded for. But at this stage, I would say avoid plastic as much as you can. Plastic is not really conducive to a ritual. As with any project or any military campaign, we have to have a timeline, so we can measure what we can do, when we can do it, if we can do it, and if we cannot do it, and make adjustments. Now, as this is a Kabbalah-based ritual, we have to look at timelines in relation to the 4 worlds. And due to the guy who told me that Jesus came to him and showed him that this was going to happen on the 20th of September 2018, I've decided to make a target. Now, the target date for when the ritual comes into effect will be the 19th of September 2018, and the period of influence from the ritual, regardless of the world used, will be 1 week, so the 19th of September to the 26th of September. Now, if you've seen other clips I've made on Practical Kabbalah regarding timelines of the worlds, I'll just say it again. Absolute is 1 month, or I should say 4 weeks, from the time of ritual until the time it becomes effective, and it remains effective for 4 weeks. In Bria, it is 3 weeks for 3 weeks. Yetzirah 2 weeks for 2 weeks, and Assia 1 week for 1 week. Myself, if I was to do this in a non-Kabbalah method, and let's say whether you're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, I would give a minimum. You can do it in a minimum with 1 week for 1 week, though I would lean towards 2 weeks for 2 weeks. Now, with the actual ritual, I've given a date. I've picked a date, of the 19th of September for it to come into effect. So if you were using the world of absolute, you would do this on the 22nd of August. If you were doing this in the world of Bria, I would pick the date of 29th of August. With Yetzirah, it would be the 5th of September, and with Assia, it would be the 12th of September. In Sydney, Australia, this will be a Wednesday, and I would do it during a Mars planetary hour. And as Mercury comes to govern Wednesday, the reason this would be used would be because we want to convey a message. Also, Mercury involves the speeding up of things. Now, the reason why a Mars planetary hour will be used is to enforce judgment. I believe these two aspects would work for this. Now, we've got astrological sides to consider as well. With absolute, we would do it on the 22nd of the 8th, which would come under the astrological sign Leo, the sun, which is generally used in practical Kabbalah for health, but in planetary terms it is good with good things and bad with bad things. You could say medium if you want, but generally good with good, bad with bad. With the other worlds, they would come under the star sign of Virgo. So the dates 29th of August, 5th of September and 12th of September come under Virgo, which is governed by Mercury. So we're covering Mars and Mercury. And if you look on the Tree of Life, these are in the left-hand pillar under the Sephira of Geburah and Hod. So logically we've got a good setup here.